Elior awoke to a soft, pulsating glow surrounding him. He had found a small clearing near the base of a gigantic twisted tree, its trunk glowing faintly like veins of molten silver. The alien forest was alive with strange sounds. A low hum resonated from the ground and creatures darted in and out of glowing foliage. Yet despite the beauty of the world around him, Elior felt a deep unease. He had survived the Queen's first encounter, but he knew it was only the beginning. Her eyes, brilliant and knowing, had followed him as he moved, and her words lingered in his mind. "Your kind fascinates me." The thought both thrilled and terrified him. Humans were clever, yes, but against a species that could read intentions and analyze thoughts, every decision mattered. Elior carefully checked his equipment. His scanner flickered, then stabilized, though it could only provide basic environmental readings. Oxygen levels were fine. Gravity was slightly weaker than Earth's, which made movement easier, though his muscles ached from the long fall from his spaceship. Energy levels were sufficient, but he had no food and only a limited water supply. Survival depended on understanding the forest and the Queen who watched him. He moved cautiously, taking careful notes in his portable data pad. Every step was measured, every sound recorded. Elior knew humans were often underestimated by alien species. Physical strength, size, or weapons were not always what made humans remarkable. It was their mind, their creativity, their ability to think, adapt, and innovate. He would need all of that now. Hours passed. Elior studied the forest, mapping out paths, noting areas where light shifted strangely, and marking the locations of moving creatures. His instincts told him that the alien Queen's hive was vast, far beyond what he could see. He was alone, yes, but perhaps not as alone as he thought. Then he saw it. A faint shimmer near the base of another twisted tree. The shimmer grew, forming into a transparent crystalline figure. Elior froze. His mind raced through possibilities. Was it another alien? A projection, a trap? "Do not fear," said a soft voice, familiar yet distant. It was the Queen. Elior's eyes widened as she appeared before him, her towering form illuminated by the alien light. "You are diligent," she said. "Observing, recording, adapting. Humans are remarkable." Elior straightened, trying to appear calm. "I have to understand this place. It is unlike anything I've seen." The Queen nodded. "Yes, you must understand or you will not survive. This planet, and my hive. Observe all who enter. Your species is unpredictable. That is why I am interested." Elior realized something important. She was not simply testing his strength or courage. She was measuring his intelligence, his resourcefulness, and his ability to think under pressure. "Why humans?" he asked, curiosity overcoming fear. "Why watch us across the stars?" Her eyes glowed softly. "Because your kind adapts, your kind learns, your kind endures. Few species possess such qualities. Others are predictable, easily controlled. Humans are not." Elior's mind raced. Humans were often underestimated by larger, stronger species. Yet here, in this alien world, that very unpredictability was both dangerous and valuable. It was why the Queen had spared him, why she observed instead of attacking. "You must understand this," she continued. "The hive protects a resource, an energy source, that could shape the future of many worlds. It must not fall into careless hands. Many species would exploit it without thought, without caution. Humans may be different, perhaps capable of wisdom." Elior's heart quickened. He was not just surviving for himself anymore. He was part of something larger. His species' creativity, ethics, and ability to adapt might influence the balance of entire civilizations. The weight of that realization pressed on him, but it also gave him a strange sense of pride. Humans were small in the galaxy, yet their potential was immense. The Queen studied him, her eyes narrowing in thought. "You have survived initial exposure. That is encouraging. Few beings endure this long. How long have you been observing humans?" Elior asked, his curiosity piqued. "Many cycles. Long before you ventured here, we watched, learned, recorded. Your history, your struggles, your triumphs. You are persistent, clever, resilient." Elior took a deep breath. The pressure of knowing he was being studied was heavy, yet he could not let fear paralyze him. "And now, why me?" The Queen's glowing eyes softened. "Because you are alone. And yet, alone does not mean weak. You have potential, human. Potential to influence, to adapt, to endure. That is why I am interested in you." Elior realized that his survival depended not on fighting, but on thinking, observing, and proving the value of humanity. He nodded slowly. Then I will try, to understand, and to survive. Good, the Queen replied, stepping back slightly. You must. There will be tests. Some are obvious. Others are not. Pay attention, human. Observe, learn, adapt. Only then will you endure. Ilior felt a thrill of determination. Humans had always faced impossible odds, and now was no different. He might be small, alone, and vulnerable, but his mind was sharp, and his spirit unyielding. Over the next several cycles, Ilior explored cautiously, following subtle patterns in the forest. He noticed faint symbols carved into the bark of enormous trees, glowing lines in the soil, and light pulses that seemed almost like signals. Each detail became a clue. Each observation could mean the difference between survival and peril. He realized that the Queen's hive was not just guarding the planet, it was testing the intelligence of any who entered. He encountered natural puzzles, rivers that shifted course unpredictably, vines that formed labyrinthine paths, and strange energy fields that interfered with his equipment. Each challenge required improvisation and clever thinking, qualities humans often excelled at. One cycle, he found a pool of liquid that reflected the sky like a mirror. As he approached, he noticed ripples forming patterns almost like a language. By observing carefully, Ilior deciphered a sequence that indicated safe paths through the forest. The Queen appeared, silently observing him from the shadows. Clever, she said softly. Few beings notice the subtle language of the environment. Humans, you adapt. Ilior felt a quiet pride. Every step forward, every solution, was proof that human ingenuity could shine even in the face of incomprehensible intelligence. Then came a new test. The ground beneath him shifted, revealing a network of underground tunnels. Ilior hesitated, then entered carefully. The tunnels twisted and curved, lined with strange crystals that pulsed with light. He realized that these passages were part of the hive's observation network, designed to see if intruders could navigate complexity without succumbing to fear. Using logic, memory, and careful observation, Ilior mapped the tunnels, noting the subtle differences in crystal patterns. At the end, he found a chamber filled with floating orbs of energy. Touching the orbs triggered holographic projections, displaying past interactions of the hive with other species. Ilior's mind raced. The Queen has tested others before me, he whispered, and she watches how species respond. Suddenly, a projection of the Queen herself appeared, asking silently, "What will you do, human?" Ilior took a deep breath. He understood that his species' greatest strength was choice. Strength or cunning could take a being far, but the ability to choose, to act wisely, to adapt, that was what set humans apart. He touched the orbs carefully, rearranging them in a logical pattern. Light spread across the chamber and a hidden passage opened. The Queen appeared immediately, her eyes glowing with approval. You understand. Few species recognize that intelligence is not force but adaptability. Humans, you are remarkable. Ilior felt a surge of relief and pride. He realized that the Queen's fascination was not about physical dominance. It was about the uniqueness of human potential. Intelligence, resourcefulness, and moral choice were qualities that could survive, even thrive, in a galaxy filled with unknown dangers. Your kind is dangerous, she said softly. Not because of violence, but because of unpredictability. You change outcomes, create possibilities, endure when others fail. That is why you fascinate me, human. Ilior nodded. Then I will continue. I will learn. I will survive. And I will prove that humans are more than what others expect. The Queen's glow dimmed slightly, as if considering him. Perhaps you will. But remember, survival is not just about cleverness. It is about understanding ethics and choice. Continue to observe, human. Your journey has only begun. Ilior stepped forward, determination in every movement. The forest, though strange and dangerous, felt less oppressive now. He was alone, yes, but not powerless. His mind was sharp, his instincts alive, and his spirit unbroken. Humans had survived unimaginable odds on Earth. Here, on this alien world, they would do the same. And somewhere deep in the twisting, glowing forest, the Queen watched, her curiosity growing. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were remarkable. And humans might just change the balance of the galaxy. Elior moved carefully through the alien forest, his eyes scanning every detail. The bioluminescent vines and glowing flora had become familiar companions, but he knew he could not rely on familiarity alone. Every tree, every shadow, every flicker of movement might hide a test or a trap. The Queen had made it clear. Survival depended on observation, intelligence, and adaptability. He came to a clearing dominated by a massive crystalline structure, unlike anything he had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with countless colors, reflecting the twin suns in patterns that were almost hypnotic. The structure seemed alive, pulsating with energy. Elior approached cautiously, running his hands along the surface. It was smooth, warm, and strangely resonant, vibrating gently under his touch. As he studied it, a soft voice filled the air. "Human," the Queen's voice echoed. "This is a test of ingenuity. The structure will not yield to force or instinct alone. You must understand its patterns, its logic, and adapt." Elior studied the structure carefully. The pulsating lights seemed to follow a rhythm, a sequence that repeated with subtle variations. He realized this was more than decoration. It was a complex system, a puzzle designed to measure his perception and intelligence. He stepped closer, observing the first sequence. Blue, green, red, yellow, repeating in a particular rhythm. He noted the variations in timing, the pauses between pulses, and the way some lights dimmed while others brightened. Using his datapad, he mapped the sequences and tested different combinations. Hours passed, but Elior did not falter. He experimented, recorded, and adapted. Each failure taught him something new. Each pattern he deciphered brought him closer to understanding the structure's logic. Finally, he discovered the pattern. It was a code based on cause and effect, symmetry, and timing. Using a combination of trial, observation, and intuition, he activated the correct sequence. The structure responded immediately, its surface shifting and opening a passage that had been invisible before. Elior stepped inside, amazed at the alien design. The interior was a labyrinth of glowing pathways, each lined with crystalline walls that reflected and refracted light in dazzling ways. The walls seemed to respond to his movements, subtly guiding him forward while also challenging his perception. He moved cautiously, relying on his understanding of patterns, logic, and observation. At times, a pathway would twist unexpectedly, requiring him to backtrack and rethink his approach. At other times, the walls would display holographic projections, simulating obstacles or scenarios that tested his reasoning. "This is remarkable," Elior whispered to himself. "Humans can solve problems that no instinct or strength alone could conquer." He realized the Queen's test was not about physical ability. It was about human ingenuity. Aliens might be stronger, faster, or more numerous, but humans could think creatively, improvise solutions, and adapt to circumstances that seemed impossible. That adaptability was what set them apart. Suddenly, a series of energy pulses blocked the path ahead, forming a barrier that shimmered like a solid wall of light. Elior paused. This was different. The previous challenges had been patterns, puzzles, and sequences. This was a test of his ability to innovate. He examined the barrier carefully. Its energy fluctuated in a rhythm similar to the crystal structure outside. Using a small device from his pack, he emitted a counter frequency to match the barrier's pulse. Slowly, the light wall flickered, dimmed, and finally parted, allowing him to pass. Elior smiled quietly. Humans did not rely solely on brute force. They could observe, analyze, and create solutions using limited resources. That ingenuity was their greatest strength, and he had proven it in the first true test of survival on this alien world. Beyond the barrier, the pathway opened into a vast chamber filled with floating luminescent orbs. Each orb contained an image or hologram, depicting moments in the history of the Queen's hive. Battles fought, species observed, civilizations studied. Elior realized he was witnessing the hive's accumulated knowledge, carefully catalogued over countless cycles. As he approached the orbs, they reacted to his presence, moving and rearranging themselves. The Queen's voice resonated in the chamber. "Observe, human. Learn, adapt. Only those who understand the knowledge of the past can navigate the future." Elior studied the orbs carefully. Some displayed creatures he recognized from scans of other planets. Others showed species he had never imagined. Each image carried lessons, strategies, mistakes, successes. He realized the Queen's hive had been monitoring countless civilizations, yet Humans were unlike any other species. They survive, and they innovate, Elior whispered. They change outcomes. They create possibilities. One orb projected a holographic sequence of another species attempting the same test he was facing. The creatures failed repeatedly, unable to recognize the patterns, the logic, or the subtle hints embedded in the environment. Their mistakes had cost them dearly, some never returning to the hive's observation chambers. Elior felt a surge of pride. Humans might be physically weaker than many species, but their creativity, adaptability, and determination were unmatched. That combination of qualities had carried humanity across centuries of challenges on Earth. And now, it gave him an edge even in the presence of an advanced alien queen. He carefully interacted with the orbs, learning to manipulate the sequences and extract the lessons they contained. Each success built his confidence and reinforced a growing realization. The queen's fascination was not merely curiosity, it was respect. She recognized that humans were capable of understanding, adapting, and overcoming obstacles that others could not. Hours passed as he studied, experimented, and solved each challenge the chamber presented. Finally, a central orb detached itself, floating toward him. It glowed brighter than the others, projecting a direct image of the queen herself. "You have performed admirably, human," her voice said, calm but carrying unmistakable authority. Few species endure the challenges of the hive. Fewer still demonstrate ingenuity, adaptability, and understanding. Elior bowed his head slightly, acknowledging the compliment. "Thank you, I try to understand, to adapt, and to survive. That is what humans do." The queen's glowing eyes seemed to sparkle with approval. "Indeed, humans possess qualities that are rare and valuable. Cleverness, creativity, and determination, qualities that can change outcomes and shape futures. That is why you fascinate me." Elior felt a strange mixture of relief and pride. He had proven that humans were more than what many species might assume. They were small, yes, and vulnerable in certain ways, but their greatest strength lay in their minds, their choices, and their adaptability. The chamber shifted, opening a new passage leading deeper into the hive's territory. Elior understood that the next challenges would be more difficult. He would encounter environments that defied logic, creatures that tested reasoning rather than strength, and scenarios that demanded both courage and careful thought. Yet he also knew that humans were capable. His ingenuity, resourcefulness, and ethical choices could carry him further than brute force ever could. In the face of the alien queen and her hive, he had discovered the power of human potential. As he stepped forward into the glowing passage, the queen's voice echoed softly. "Continue, human. Your journey has only begun. Observe, adapt, and endure. The universe is vast, and the potential of your kind is limitless." Elior's heart swelled with determination. He was alone in the alien forest, yes, but he was armed with the greatest weapon humanity possessed: the mind, the spirit, and the will to overcome impossible odds. And somewhere deep within the hive, the queen watched, her curiosity now tinged with respect. Humans were not just clever, they were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of achieving greatness. And that unpredictability was dangerous, powerful, and endlessly fascinating. For the first time since his crash, Elior smiled. He knew he could survive. He knew humans could thrive. And he knew that whatever trials awaited him next, he would face them with the ingenuity, courage, and spirit that had always defined his species. The alien forest stretched endlessly before him, filled with unknown dangers, glowing mysteries, and challenges beyond imagination. But Elior walked forward with confidence, each step a testament to the resilience and brilliance of humanity. Elior emerged from the labyrinthine chambers of the hive into a vast open space, illuminated by streams of glowing light that arched like bridges across the alien sky. The air was thick with energy, resonating in waves that seemed almost musical. The alien queen awaited him at the center, her towering form radiating authority and grace. Around her floated her attendants, shapes both elegant and strange, their many limbs moving in synchrony as they observed him silently. "You have performed well," the queen said, her voice calm but carrying weight. "Your ingenuity, perseverance, and ethical reasoning are exceptional. You have proven that your kind is capable of understanding beyond survival." Elior bowed his head slightly. "Thank you. I have learned much, and I still have much to learn." The queen's glowing eyes softened. "It is time, human, for a choice. You have shown cleverness, but now you must demonstrate wisdom. Elior straightened, curiosity and caution mixing in his chest. A choice? Yes, she replied. The energy source of this hive, its power, has the potential to influence countless worlds. Many species would exploit it without thought. They would use it for selfish gain, for destruction, or for domination. I have protected it for cycles, ensuring balance is maintained. You, human, may help shape that balance. Elior's pulse quickened. The responsibility was immense. He had come here alone, merely trying to survive. Yet now the fate of countless worlds seemed intertwined with his decisions. He felt a deep weight settle on his shoulders, but also a quiet determination. Humans had always risen to challenges beyond comprehension. I understand, he said carefully. Humans have the ability to learn, to adapt, and to make decisions that can benefit others, not just themselves. I will do what I can to ensure this. Energy is used wisely. The Queen studied him closely. It is not enough to intend well. You must understand diplomacy, alliances, and the value of cooperation. Many species fail because they act from fear or arrogance. Humans may succeed because of their creativity, reasoning, and empathy. Elior nodded. He had learned much from his journey through the hive, from solving puzzles to observing the Queen's strategies. Now it was time to put that learning into action. You must meet with the Council of the Hive, the Queen continued. They will test your ability to communicate, persuade, and negotiate. Your actions will determine whether a partnership between your kind and the Hive is possible. Elior took a deep breath and followed the Queen and her attendants into a massive chamber. It was circular, lined with crystalline platforms that floated above the ground. On each platform stood a representative of the Hive, a being of various shapes, colors, and sizes, each radiating intelligence and authority. Their eyes, like the Queen's, glowed with an inner light, assessing him silently. Human, the Queen said, gesturing toward him. These are my counselors. They observe, advise, and protect the Hive. You must demonstrate your ability to reason, to negotiate, and to act with wisdom. Speak and they will listen. Show them understanding, and they may accept your kind as an ally. Elior stepped forward, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. I am Elior, a representative of humanity. I have come here not to take, not to conquer, but to learn and to share understanding. Humans value knowledge, cooperation, and ethical choices. I seek a partnership that respects your hive, your planet, and the potential of this energy, while also ensuring that it may benefit many, not just one. A ripple of movement passed through the counselors. Some tilted their heads, studying him carefully. One, larger than the others, spoke through a series of melodic tones that Elior could just barely interpret with his translator. Why should we trust a species that we have observed as unpredictable, impulsive, and often dangerous? Elior nodded, acknowledging the concern. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but unpredictability is not always weakness. It is adaptability. It is creativity. It is the ability to see solutions that others cannot. That same unpredictability allows humans to survive where others fail, and to act ethically even when circumstances are difficult. I ask for your trust, not blindly, but as a recognition of potential and mutual understanding. A quiet hum filled the chamber. The counselors exchanged glances, and Elior realized they were communicating silently, likely through thoughts or vibrations. He understood that every word, every gesture, and even the pauses between words were being carefully analyzed. You speak with reason, the Queen said softly, but reasoning alone is not enough. You must demonstrate action. Elior's mind raced. He had learned from the orbs, the barriers, and the crystal chambers. He knew the hive's energy source was both powerful and delicate. He recalled the patterns in the tunnels, the sequences of light, and the rhythm of the crystalline structures. Using this knowledge, he stepped forward and projected a map of the hive's energy network through his portable device, showing potential paths for controlled access that would prevent misuse while allowing careful study and beneficial application. The counselors observed silently. Some moved closer, their glowing eyes studying the projections. Elior continued. This plan does not exploit your resources. It respects your hive and ensures stability. It allows collaboration with species capable of ethical choices and innovation, humans included. My proposal is cautious, but it is built on trust, observation, and logic. The chamber was silent for several moments. Then one of the counselors, a being of shimmering green and silver, stepped forward. Your species has potential. Your reasoning is clear. Your ethics, unusual among observed species. Perhaps you can guide others to act wisely. Perhaps humans are capable of more than we expected. Elior felt a surge of hope. This was the first acknowledgement from the hive that humans were more than curious observers. They were partners capable of contributing to balance and understanding in the galaxy. The Queen's eyes glowed brighter. You see, human, unpredictability coupled with morality and ingenuity can achieve what force alone cannot. Your kind has survived because you think, adapt, and create solutions under pressure. That same potential can shape the future of many worlds if guided wisely. Elior bowed his head slightly. I understand. Humans can do great harm if unchecked, yes, but we can also do great good. Our choices matter. That is why we must act thoughtfully, not only for ourselves but for others. The counselors exchanged another silent communication. One, taller than the rest, spoke finally. Your actions demonstrate intelligence, courage, and ethical reasoning. We will accept your proposal conditionally. Your kind must continue to prove its value through collaboration, guidance, and careful decision-making. Elior nodded, relief and pride mixing in his chest. Humans had been recognized not just as clever survivors, but as a species capable of meaningful diplomacy, ethical choices, and positive influence. The Queen stepped forward, her glowing eyes studying him intently. You have done well, human. Few species would have succeeded. You have proven that intelligence, creativity, and morality are qualities that can endure across cycles, influence outcomes, and inspire respect, even from beings far older and stronger than yourself. Elior felt a deep warmth rise within him. He had survived the Queen's tests, demonstrated human ingenuity, and forged a tentative alliance with a species that had once observed humans only as unpredictable curiosities. You have earned trust, human, she continued. Your species has potential far beyond what is immediately visible. Use it wisely. Observe, adapt, and endure. Let your actions reflect the best of what humanity can be. Elior took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the responsibility ahead. He was alone on an alien world, yes, but he was no longer powerless. Humans had a place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as intelligent, creative, and ethical participants capable of influencing outcomes for the better. The Queen's attendants shifted around her, signaling the end of the formal audience. You may explore the hive further, she said. Learn what you can. Prepare for the journey back to your world. Your choices will continue to define how your species is viewed among the stars. Elior bowed again. Thank you. I will honor your trust and continue to learn. As he walked through the glowing corridors of the hive, Elior reflected on the lessons he had learned. Humans were often underestimated because of size, physical strength, or perceived limitations. Yet here, in the presence of a species far more advanced, he had discovered that the greatest strength of humanity lay in ingenuity, adaptability, and ethical choice. He paused at a balcony overlooking the central energy chamber, watching streams of glowing light pulse through the hive. The Queen stood at the center, radiating calm authority, observing him with quiet curiosity. Elior realized that their interactions were no longer tests alone. They were a dialogue between species, an exchange of understanding, and a recognition of potential. Humans are remarkable, the Queen whispered almost to herself. Clever, adaptable, capable of morality and insight. They may yet change the course of the galaxy. Elior took one last look at the vast glowing landscape of the hive. He was alone, yes, but for the first time he felt connected to something larger. The galaxy was filled with challenges, mysteries, and possibilities, and humans had a role to play. Through creativity, intelligence, and moral courage, they could endure, inspire, and make a difference. Elior stood at the edge of the glowing forest, the twin suns dipping low on the horizon. The alien sky shimmered in vibrant hues of violet and gold, reflecting the energy of the hive he had come to know so intimately. Behind him, the Queen and her attendants observed silently, their glowing eyes following every movement. Elior felt the weight of the trials, the tests, and the knowledge he had gained pressing upon him, but he also felt a quiet pride. Humans had survived, adapted, and proven their worth. You have done well, human, the Queen said, her voice calm yet commanding. You have demonstrated intelligence, creativity, and morality. Your kind is unpredictable yet remarkable. You leave this world not merely as an observer, but as a representative of humanity. Elior bowed his head. Thank you. I will honor the trust you have placed in me. The Queen's gaze lingered on him. Remember this. Humans survive not only through strength, but through the mind, through choices, through collaboration. Let your actions reflect that truth. Let your species shine among the stars. Elior glanced at the hive's glowing energy fields, the crystalline structures, and the floating chambers that had tested him so thoroughly. Each moment had been a challenge, each obstacle a lesson, and each success a testament to human ingenuity. Now he would carry these lessons back to his own people, back to Earth and beyond. Are you ready? The Queen asked, her tone gentle but firm. Elior nodded. Yes, I am ready. With her permission, Elior approached the edge of the forest where his spaceship rested, patched but functional. The twin suns cast long shadows across the alien soil, making the glowing vines shimmer like strands of liquid light. He paused for a moment, looking back at the Queen. I will not forget this, he said softly, nor will humanity. The Queen inclined her head, a gesture of acknowledgement and respect. And humanity will not be forgotten, human. You are clever, resilient, and capable of great deeds. Go, and let your species continue to grow, learn, and endure. Elior boarded his ship, running pre-flight checks with steady hands. Though he was physically alone, he felt a connection to something larger, the hive, the Queen, and the knowledge of countless species that had been recorded within the crystalline chambers. Humanity was small, yes, but capable of remarkable influence. That thought filled him with determination. As the engines hummed to life, Elior looked out at the alien forest one last time. The Queen stood at the edge of the central clearing, her glowing eyes following him as he lifted off. The light of the twin suns glinted across her shimmering form, and for a brief moment, Elior felt the strange sensation of mutual respect passing between species. The spaceship ascended, and the forest below began to shrink into a tapestry of glowing patterns. Elior's mind raced with ideas, lessons, and possibilities. The challenges he had faced in the hive were not merely tests. They were windows into the potential of the galaxy, and into the remarkable qualities of his own species. Humans had survived countless challenges on Earth, harsh environments, natural disasters, conflicts, and uncertainty. Those same qualities, adaptability, ingenuity, and ethical reasoning, had allowed him to navigate the alien Queen's tests. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of influencing outcomes in ways larger and stronger species might not anticipate. As the planet receded into the distance, Elior thought of the hive's energy network, the crystal passages, and the floating chambers of knowledge. Each challenge had required observation, creativity, and problem-solving. Each success had built confidence and insight, not just for him, but for what humanity could accomplish collectively. He activated the ship's communication system and began transmitting a detailed report of his journey, the hive and the Queen's instructions. The message would reach Earth scientists, explorers, and leaders. It would not only share knowledge but also inspire them to recognize the potential that lay within their species. Elior's voice echoed across the void. We are not merely survivors. We are thinkers, innovators, and collaborators. Our choices define us. Our ingenuity allows us to overcome challenges that seem impossible. And our morality, our ability to act with consideration for others, can guide us in shaping a future that benefits more than ourselves. The message was long, thorough, and filled with the awe and respect he felt for the alien Queen and her species. Yet it also reflected pride in humanity, not arrogance, but recognition that humans had qualities worth celebrating, worth defending, and worth sharing across the stars. As he completed the transmission, Elior allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. He had entered the alien world as a lone explorer, uncertain and vulnerable. He had faced tests of mind, intuition, and courage. And he had emerged not only alive but as a bridge between his species and one of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Humans were clever. Humans were adaptable. Humans were capable of ethical reasoning and creativity that could shape outcomes in ways others could not foresee. That was the true lesson of the hive, the Queen and his journey. The spaceship glided smoothly through the atmosphere, leaving the alien planet behind. Elior set the course for Earth, his thoughts already planning how to share the knowledge, the lessons, and the inspiration he had gathered. He knew there would be challenges ahead, both on his planet and beyond, but he also knew that humans had the ability to rise to them. Prepare for re-entry, he said quietly to himself. The next stage of this journey is just beginning. The twin suns faded behind him as the ship entered hyperspace. Stars stretched into long streaks of light, and the hum of the engines became a soothing rhythm. Elior's mind wandered to the Queen and her hive, wondering what other mysteries lay hidden in the galaxy. Yet he felt a sense of reassurance. Humans were capable of facing the unknown, adapting, and influencing the future in meaningful ways. Weeks passed as Elior traveled across light years, analyzing the data collected from the hive and preparing reports for Earth. Each record highlighted human potential, observation, problem-solving, ingenuity, and ethical decision-making. He realized that these qualities were not just tools for survival, they were the foundation of humanity's place among the stars. As Earth appeared on the view screen, Elior felt a sense of homecoming, tempered with excitement and anticipation. He would return with knowledge that could inspire, inform, and guide his species. He would share lessons of adaptability, intelligence, and diplomacy, showing that humans were capable of more than anyone, including themselves, might imagine. When he landed, a team of scientists and explorers rushed to greet him. Their eyes widened as they absorbed the data, the recordings, and the observations he had collected. Elior spoke to them, his voice steady and confident. "We are clever. We are adaptable. We are capable of influencing outcomes in ways no one else can, and we have a responsibility to use these qualities wisely, for the benefit of more than ourselves." The team listened in awe. They understood, perhaps for the first time, that humans were more than survivors. They were thinkers, innovators, and ethical beings capable of shaping a brighter future for all. Elior looked toward the sky, imagining the alien queen watching from her hive, her glowing eyes reflecting both curiosity and respect. Humans had proven themselves in her eyes, and now it was time to prove it to themselves. The journey had tested him, challenged him, and changed him. But more importantly, it had revealed the essence of humanity: resilient, clever, ethical, and endlessly capable of creating solutions where others see only obstacles. And as he walked toward the base, Elior knew that the universe was vast, full of mysteries and challenges, yet humans were ready. They had faced the alien queen, navigated impossible puzzles, and earned the respect of a civilization far older and wiser than themselves. Elior's final thought as he prepared to share his experiences was simple, yet profound. Humans survive. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans, through ingenuity, courage, and ethical choice, can shape the stars themselves. The galaxy was wide, full of opportunity and danger, but humanity had proven that it was ready. The Queen had asked, "Are you alone, human?" Elior now knew the answer. Humans are never truly alone, for their ingenuity, spirit, and potential carry them forward, across worlds beyond expectations and into the stars. With that thought, Elior stepped into the bustling human command center, ready to share the story, the knowledge, and the proof of humanity's remarkable capabilities. A new chapter was beginning, not only for him but for all of humanity, and the stars would never look the same again. Captain Arik Thorn stood at the edge of the observation deck, his eyes scanning the vast cityscape of Xylaris. The alien capital spread below him like a living mosaic of crystal towers, shimmering in colors humans could barely name. For years, humanity had watched the Zephyrians from afar, respecting their power and intelligence. Now, Arik was here as part of the first human delegation, tasked with forging an alliance that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Arik's ship, the Vigilant, had just docked in the central port. The Zephyrians had welcomed them with a ceremony that was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Their tall, graceful forms moved with a rhythm that seemed to echo the music of the city itself. Arik had trained for months in alien etiquette, studying their language, gestures, and customs. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the weight of entering the Queen's palace. "Captain," said Lieutenant Mara, his second in command, her voice quiet over the comm link, "are you ready for the audience?" Arik nodded. "Ready as I'll ever be. Keep our people close. Remember, one wrong step and this could turn into disaster." Mara gave a tight smile and gestured for the humans to follow. Their small convoy of guards and envoys moved cautiously through the palace halls. The walls were adorned with shifting murals, depicting Zephyrian history in lights and colors that danced across their surfaces. Every step echoed with a subtle hum, as if the building itself were alive. At the heart of the palace, they entered the grand hall. And there she was, Queen Lyris. She stood atop a crystalline dais, her figure tall and regal. Her eyes were like pools of liquid silver, scanning the humans with both curiosity and caution. Her hair, long and luminous, seemed to float as if suspended in air. Every gesture she made was precise, deliberate, and full of power. Auric felt his breath catch. Captain Auric Thorn of Earth. Her voice rang in the hall, melodic yet commanding. You have crossed the stars to reach us. Speak, human, and tell me why. Auric stepped forward, keeping his posture formal. Your Majesty, we come seeking alliance, understanding, and the opportunity for our peoples to prosper together. Humanity offers knowledge, technology, and loyalty. Lyris tilted her head, considering him. Loyalty is earned, human. Words alone are not enough. The tension in the hall was palpable. The human delegation exchanged nervous glances. Auric's hand hovered near his belt, not on a weapon, but ready to react. Then, without warning, the doors of the hall burst open. Shadows moved with unnatural speed. Figures cloaked in dark armor stormed the room. Auric barely had time to react. One of the intruders lunged at Lyris with a blade that glowed with an eerie blue light. Instinct took over. Auric moved faster than he knew he could. With a shove, he pushed Lyris out of harm's way, feeling the energy of her presence brush against him like fire. The blade found Auric's side instead. Pain exploded through him. He stumbled, pressing a hand against the wound, tasting blood. The world seemed to slow. Lyris's eyes widened, a flicker of shock crossing her perfect composure. Captain, Mara shouted, drawing her weapon. But the attackers were already retreating, vanishing through hidden doors as quickly as they had appeared. The hall was silent again, except for Auric's ragged breaths. Lyris descended the dais with a speed that seemed impossible. She knelt beside him, her hands hovering over his wound. He flinched instinctively. You are forbidden to touch me, human, she whispered, her voice soft but firm, sending shivers down his spine. Auric blinked, confused. I know what you intended, she interrupted gently, yet her silver eyes held an unspoken warning. But our laws forbid it. You must learn to respect them, or the consequences will be grave. He struggled to stay upright. I saved you. Lyris's gaze softened, and for a moment he saw vulnerability there, a shadow beneath the power. And yet you may not touch me. Remember this, Captain. Remember it well. Medics rushed in, surrounding him with glowing instruments. Auric was lifted carefully onto a hover stretcher, his vision swimming between the brilliant colors of the palace and the concerned faces of his crew. Mara stayed at his side, her hand gripping his arm. Are you okay? She asked. Her voice was steady, though her eyes betrayed worry. Auric managed a weak nod. I'll live. But this is just the beginning. Something isn't right here. As the medics worked, Auric's mind raced. Why would the Queen forbid touch after he had just saved her life? Was it purely law? Or something deeper, something tied to her, to them? And why had the attackers struck now, during a peace ceremony? The palace itself seemed to whisper secrets. Auric could feel it, an intelligence beyond walls and stone, as if the building had its own awareness. He shivered. Humanity had come to seek an alliance, but what they had found instead was a maze of power, mystery, and danger. By evening, Auric was stable. He lay in a chamber designed for healing, the walls glowing softly with bioluminescent panels. He looked out the window at the alien city below. Lights danced across the streets, reflecting in pools of liquid crystal. Somewhere in that city, enemies still lurked. Somewhere, perhaps, the answers waited. Mara entered, her expression cautious. The council wants to speak with you. They're concerned about the attack. Auric sighed. Of course they are. But they don't understand what happened, Mara. That attack wasn't random. It was planned. Someone inside the palace wanted to send a message. Or remove the Queen. Mara frowned. Then what do we do? We survive first, Auric said, flexing his fingers. The pain from the stab wound still throbbed, but it did not weaken him. Humans had survived worse, and he would not let an alien law, no matter how strict, stop him from understanding the truth. Then we find out who is betraying her. And if I have to, I'll protect this Queen with everything I have. Outside, the moon of Xylaris rose over the crystalline city. Its pale light shimmered across the towers, turning them into pillars of silver and ice. Somewhere in the shadows, the conspirators moved. Auric clenched his jaw. Humans may have been the newcomers, but they were resilient, clever, and unyielding. If anyone could navigate the treacherous politics of this alien world, it was him. He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of life pumping through his veins despite the wound. He thought of Lyris standing tall and untouchable, and realized that the forbidden rule made the bond between them all the more compelling. This was no ordinary alliance. This was a test for both humans and Zephyrians. As sleep threatened to pull him under, Arik made a silent promise. He would understand the Queen, uncover the conspirators, and prove that humanity was not only capable of surviving in the stars, but also of earning the trust of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And though he did not know it yet, the Queen's whispered words would haunt him. "You are forbidden to touch me, human." A line that would echo through every choice, every battle, every step he took in the days to come. Humanity had arrived on Xylaris, and humanity would not leave without making its mark.